From his introduction, to telling Luffy he'd destroy any crew of his choosing, to how he survived a fall from the Sun Realm as a newborn, to defeating Imu-amped Harald one-on-one. All the way to now, fighting Imu himself with a plot nerf and without even using his hybrid form, Loki has surpassed any and all expectations we had for this character. But there's still so much cope from Kaido fans that it's actually kind of funny. So in this video, I'm going to give you clear, undeniable reasons why Loki is really, truly that much stronger than Kaido. And I'll also address and dismantle all the counter-arguments. Let's get into it. We're starting with the devil fruits. And to be fair, I don't think there's a single One Piece fan who disagrees that Loki's fruit is just objectively better than Kaido's. Kaido also has a mythical Zoan, sure, but there's really no comparison between the two. Let's see. Kaido's fruit allows him to transform into the Azure dragon. He can use fire and wind elemental powers, and he can use flame clouds to fly or lift things. Meanwhile, Loki's fruit is the legendary Nidhogg fruit that allows one to transform into Nidhogg, the lightning dragon. It's so big that Kaido would literally look as small as Usopp looks next to a giant. And it gives Loki lightning element powers that dwarf even the scale of what the lightning fruit itself could do. I mean, if you put Loki's unnamed lightning strike from chapter 1142 right next to Enel's Raigo, which was powered by the Arc Maxim, they're roughly equal in scale. But then there's Loki's actual named attacks, like Thorheim, which is like Kaido's Boro breath, except it's lightning, and it's exponentially bigger in scale. And this lightning itself is actually infused with Loki's Conqueror's Haki. And then there's Ragna Izuchi, an attack where Loki calls down lightning from the sky, infuses it with both Ragnir and his Conqueror's Haki, and then swings Ragnir vertically down at the enemy. This is what he used on Imu in chapter 1181. So basically, while Kaido's fruit turns him into a dragon and he gains flame and wind powers, Loki also turns into a dragon, but exponentially larger. Even if you consider Kaido's flaming dragon form, it's going to be smaller than the size of Loki's head. And honestly, we haven't even talked about Ragnir, who might as well be the actual strongest creature. You see, Ragnir has been the one guarding the Nidhogg fruit since ancient times, and Ragnir has ice element abilities. Plus, considering that what's frozen by Ragnir can only be unfrozen by Ragnir, his ice abilities may also be greater in scale and potency than the ice fruit. Now, let me add that Loki's dragon fruit is unique in the context of One Piece. It's currently the only one in the actual dragon fruit series whose transformation is based on a creature fully considered a dragon in the real world. Keep in mind that Kaido's fruit is actually a fish fruit, and although there were many dragon fruit users in Kaido's crew, they were all ancient Zoans based on dinosaurs. The only mythical Zoan dragon fruit other than Loki's is Killingham's Kylan fruit, which is not really a dragon, it's a chimera with traits from many animals and mythical creatures. Naturally, this is big, because while Kaido was telling Momo how the world only needs one dragon, he didn't even have the only actual dragon mythical Zoan. Loki did. Wait. If Loki and Loki's fruit are all that, what about Kaido's title? Isn't he the world's strongest creature? Yeah, let's talk about that title. You see, Kaido's world's strongest creature title has always had asterisks. It's always, people say, supposedly, it is said, almost as if it's canonically an in-universe rumor. I mean, let me point out that the narrator's introduction box for Kaido calls him the King of the Beasts. The world's strongest creature statement is mentioned as well, but it is treated as a rumor. Nothing more, nothing less. So when people say Kaido is the strongest because the story says so, they're repeating in-universe hype that Oda himself was careful not to present as absolute truth. Moving on, let's look at Loki's feats. Right after eating his fruit, Loki defeated an Imu-amped King Harald. And I know not everyone will agree with what I'm about to say next. But if you agree that Rocks and Harald are equals, then you can also agree that Domi Reversi Rocks and Abyss Covenant Harald are equals. And yet, while Roger and Garp needed to team up to beat Rocks, Loki, right after eating his fruit, was able to beat Harald by himself. Of course, Kaido was also impressive when he ate his dragon fruit. He was able to unleash a Boro breath on Imu when everyone jumped Imu in chapter 1163. But with Loki, we're talking about a level that breaks the One Piece power scale. Also, right now in the current story, Loki has a plot nerf. The injuries he received from Gunko and Shamrock are going to take over a month to heal. And yet, despite those injuries, base Loki is still able to tank multiple hits from Imu, including the name famed sword attack, Nemesis. Remember, while Loki is tanking these attacks, Zoro got one-shotted by a tiny omen blast and Sanji got one-shotted by a single kick. Even though Zoro and Sanji should be multiple tiers stronger than they were in Wano, they are still nothing to Imu. And on top of all this, Oda is still saving Loki's strongest form for a future chapter. We've only seen a silhouette of his hybrid form. The full reveal is being saved. And when we finally see it, I bet it only makes Loki's status as definitely stronger than Kaido that much more clear. And one more thing, unlike Kaido, Loki's mind actually aligns with his fruit. Kaido could never awaken his fruit because enslaving Wano went against the Azure Dragon's nature as a guardian deity. But Loki was chosen by Ragnir. He's the first since the warrior god of Elbaph to be worthy of this fruit. So just imagine if Loki's fruit isn't even awakened yet. Just imagine he actually awakens it in this arc. Honestly, it's hard to believe how shameless Oda has been with Loki. Every time you try to come up with a reason that he's not there yet, that he's not above emperors like Kaido and Big Meme, Oda just spits in your face. Still, we do have some counter arguments, so let's address them next. Counter number 1. Kaido has the best feats out of all the old gen. The argument is that Kaido fought a 15-round gauntlet. He fought the Scabbards, the Supernovas, Yamato, and Luffy multiple times while lifting an island. No one else has that kind of endurance. But Loki's current opponent is Imu, who is even above the Pirate King tier. We're talking about someone who has been the top one for the past 800 years. I mean, let's not forget that Imu shrugged off the strongest attacks from Rocks, Roger, Garp, Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Kaido himself, all at the same time. And the Imu fighting Loki is in his own physical hybrid form, so he's actually stronger than the Imu who was at God Valley. Yes, Kaido's gauntlet is always going to be impressive, but endurance against Yonko commander level fighters doesn't equal endurance against the top one of the verse. Counter number 2. If Loki beats Kaido, he beats every old gen too. The argument is that Kaido is the gatekeeper. Beating him means you're above Roger and Rocks, and that's ridiculous for Loki. But no, it doesn't mean that. That said, old gen wank is mostly nostalgia. Kaido has better on-screen feats than any old gen character, except maybe Whitebeard at Marineford, but Loki's feats against Imu are already surpassing Kaido's. So just take what Oda has been showing us at face value and accept that Loki may also be above old gen. Counter number 3, Kaido's title. And as I said before, the narrator never officially calls Kaido the world's strongest creature. The official intro says King of the Beasts. The world's strongest creature statement is presented by the narrator himself as an in-universe rumor. Also, every title has asterisks. Whitebeard was called the world's strongest man while sick and dying of stage 4 cancer. Mihawk is the world's strongest swordsman, but ask any two One Piece fans if he's stronger than Shanks and you'll get two different answers. Counter number 4. Kaido has better hockey feats. Okay, show me one Kaido hockey feat that compares to Loki actually killing Imu-amped Immortal Harald with his advanced Conqueror's hockey. The only comparable feat is the combined attack Roger and Garp used on Rocks, and that was not a solo feat, unlike Loki's big beautiful feat. Finally, let's talk about Loki versus Shanks. Honestly, this is the only reason so much of the fan base has taken this long to come around to the Loki agenda. People think, well, if Shanks beat Loki, then Kaido can beat him too. But we don't know how Shanks versus Loki happened, or if it even happened at all the way people think. Everything we've been told about Loki so far has been a lie or incomplete. Gaban wasn't there when Shanks and Loki fought, just like he wasn't there for the whole rooftop fight against Kaido. Yet he simplified it as Luffy defeated Kaido. The same unreliable narration could apply to Shanks versus Loki. So there you have it. Loki's fruit is better, his feats are better, his narrative importance is bigger. And every time someone tries to argue otherwise, the evidence just keeps piling up in Loki's favor. Let me know what you think. I'll soon be back with another video to push more Loki agenda.